as you are building out the real estate side of the house and the property management and kind of doing all the vertical integration in there, what are your hopes and plans for the kids as you're kind of building that out? Like, how much involvement do you want kids to have in there? What sort of exposure do you want them to have? What level of group cohesion inside of their family cohesion inside of the business are you looking for?
I was involved in real estate before I had kids, but it's one of the things that I've come to appreciate. It's a natural business to bring my kids alongside me. And as I learned as a dad, and I try to pass on to other young dads, you need to build assets, right? For you to be the dad that's truly parenting for your grandchildren, right? Like everything I do now isn't so much about Wyatt. It's about Wyatt's kids. Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm going to be able to participate in Wyatt's kids' lives, if we're truly going to have a multi-generational family, I need assets. I need avenues to interact there with my children, and then I need to be able to provide resources. In our family, we don't talk about paying for college. Not something we plan on doing. Yeah. I do want to set my kids up to be able to start families young. So I want to be able to provide down payments. Right? Mm-hmm. Why it's a long way away. Things can change, but like if I can get you into a home where then you feel comfortable having kids sooner and our family can continue to grow, then that's fulfilling my role there. Yeah. And we actually see it from King David. Like you have to set up your fields, and it's something I think dads miss. Like as you are coming into when your kids need you most, I've really come to hate the phrase "just wait till they're teenagers." Your kids need you most. Yeah. Well, that's when my kids need me most. I got to be around the most then. And to be around the most then, I got to have opportunities for my kids to come to work with me. I've got to have assets that make it so I don't have to go into the office every single day. So real estate, I see providing that. It's an incredibly old profession. I think it'll be around for a long, long time, and I think it will continue to check those boxes for a team.
Absolutely. I don't foresee it going anywhere, right? It's gonna have its ups and downs. There's gonna be difficulties. Like right now, it's a little bit of a difficulty inside the multifamily world, as I'm sure you're well aware. Yep. You know who Andrew Cushman is?
Oh yeah.
So I was on a call that he was on recently, and he was talking about like over the last year they've done like 640. They've underwritten like 640 deals and bought 0 of them. And it was like, I feel so much better hearing it from somebody like Andrew Cushman because like he's really good in this space. And it's like, man, because I felt the same thing. I'm like, man, I just cannot get things to work. But those struggles I think it's good for our kids to see those struggles and hear about those as well. And like, hey, not everything is rainbows and butterflies. And to do what you said is involve them in as much as possible. My son gets to hear me on almost all of these phone calls, gets to hear me on a lot of the business things, gets to see the frustration in my face, and I get to talk to him about it. And Daddy, what are you looking at? And what are you reviewing? I was pulling up numbers on a deal right before this call. Right before my last call. But I think the exposure for the kids is vitally important, and to me, it's a lot of fun. That doesn't mean that I'm saying, "Hey, you're going to be a real estate investor," because I want him to do whatever he wants to do. I want all of my kids to do what they want to do, but I at least want to have the exposure so they know what's coming and what's not. But that's part of us setting up that future for, to your point, the generations on moving forward. So, what is kind of your goal? Where are you at right now? Like, investment wise, kind of what you're doing apartment buildings. Like, what's your portfolio look like now? What are you trying to grow it to?
Sure. So we own approximately, it gets kind of like the funny numbers where you look at where everyone, our brand is Endurance Capital, the Drew Whitson contact time partners with our company, Minnesota Capital Management, about 2,500 units under management, 5 states. We do have some retail, which I would say the best performing investment right now is a retail investment here in the Twin Cities. And then we also have some exposure to industrial there as well. Mm-hmm. And I would say our current portfolio is probably indicative of a lot of folks. We're still out there active trying to grow. We're 25 to 30% off on everything. It's a little bit closer. We've seen that bid-ask spread come in a little bit, but just can't make it work. So
you still putting in offers, or are you just not even putting in offers when you're 30% off?
We're putting in offers, but we're making people mad along the way.
Yeah.
Where we
But to
are.
me, again, that goes to the communication side of the house. Like, communicate with the broker already, but like, look, like, it's not 2021. It's not where we're at. Like, these are my numbers, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if you find something else, I'm not going to be offended. Go sell to somebody else, just like you shouldn't be offended by me putting in an offer. So,
90% of our portfolio is doing just fine. Like,
Yeah.
long-term fixed rate debt. We got into some pretty heavy value adds where we executed our business plan, but we had some short-term debt. So we've got about 3 or 4 deals right now that are all hands on deck, and it's really hard. Right? It happened quite naturally in 2021, where you leased well at pro forma rents, raised rent above pro forma, and we've got a couple of markets where that's just not happening. It's been a real struggle there, and we've dealt with all sorts of nastiness. You don't hear get into this. And the contractor didn't do his job, overbilled you, and put a lien on your property, and you're fighting with your contractor and your lender because they want the lien gone. It's just, there's a lot of attorneys. It's stuff you learn about in times like these.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We were just going through a lot of that. I mean, the amount of time it took us to get, the contractor did not pull the permit as discussed. Things kind of didn't go the way that we wanted it to. And then the city was just asking question after question after question. And we were halted on all of our rehab, and it just like sucking us dry with money. And it's like, well, this is part of what happens. One person complains to another, and it's one of those that this is part of the business, and it's bound to happen. We're going to run through the issues, and you just work through it. But now, when you were telling that story, that's how I know that Todd is how we got connected, because I'm friends with Todd. So that makes sense. For those who are listening, right before we started recording, we were trying to figure out how we actually got connected because we didn't remember. But now I know, because it was Todd Dexheimer, which sadly we just had to send an email to him. We have to re-record the podcast because his audio completely got lost. So I feel terrible now. But it only like 20 minutes of it came through. But yeah, he's a solid dude, and I could totally see, especially now that I know how you guys are partners, that makes a lot of sense to me. So Wyatt, I got a question for you. What do you want to do when you grow up? Okay. An electronics what?
What?
Papa is my wife's dad.
Okay.
Who Wyatt is very close with. And
Nice.
I can build everything, kid.
Yeah.
Well, right now, he retired on his second career, electrical contractor. So we go down to Texas. What do you and Papa do?
Nice. Do you get electrocuted?
You go to job sites, don't you? You go to the supply shop and watch Papa negotiate on those important things. You don't have to rob a lot. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Being able to hang out with your grandparents is an absolute blessing that I hope you get to enjoy for a long time, Wyatt.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So, what is your favorite thing about your dad, Wyatt?
About the trip when he's back.
Yeah. You like hearing about his trips? Ooh, nice. Yeah. Okay, so it's about the snacks, not about dad. I got it. I see. What do you think your dad could do better? Ooh, helping you with your bank account? That's a solid request. That's a solid request for sure. So when I asked my son that, he asked me to spend a little bit more time in the middle of the day with him. So then we built out in the calendar 30 minutes in the middle of the day, 3 days a week. That's just me going out and hanging with the boys. Sometimes we ride the four-wheelers in the backyard. Sometimes we play a board game. Sometimes we play Daddy Get 'Em, which is when I chase my kids around the house and we hope we don't bash our heads against the wall. You never know what we're going to do, but it's 30 minutes of just them time. So it's a wonderful moment. So anytime you think Daddy can do something better, you let him know in a very polite and respectful way. And then after we get off this call, Daddy's going to say, "Don't ever tell me that again." No, I'm kidding. He won't do that. He won't do that. He wants to hear it.